Okay, it's time for us to get into Mark, and we'll work on the text there and clean that up. And because I don't know, I'm thinking about starting off each of these books, explaining a little bit what I'm doing. Um, our Creator made me see Him 8 times, so I'm declaring to you right now, I know more than you. And I'm here to tell you the truth of what I've been given to know. And I want you to follow along and listen to why I can edit the text. Now, the weak Christian's going to run away because he's going to say, oh, every word in the Bible is correct. Well, why are there 40 or 29 different Bibles? For copyright reasons, they changed the words. Okay. Now, um, there is a problem when you start looking at and understanding how what the translators wrote in the 1611 preface. And let me take you there. Now, the 1611 preface here, I got to get it up on top so I can get it here. Okay. Now, what you're seeing is some things that I've made notes that just are hard to explain what you're reading. I'm sure you don't know every meaning that's here, and I will explain it over time. But the object is they give reasons why you can change the text. And that's pretty much the argument here that they present. But right here is the first reason, okay? Let me get a different color here. And then this one here is the second reason. This is the third reason. And this is the fourth reason why the text can be changed, even if the text says other than what you think it's supposed to say. Because down here, or in one of them, all right, see here, they talk about by the light and the feeling that we have attained unto ourselves, it gives them the right to change the text. So now here's I'm going to go through a little bit of this because this is their words. But did you know that Gregory is the divine? Okay, their words, capital D. Can you answer that, you weak Christians, or any of you Christians? Have you actually read the 1611 preface? In the description below, you'll find my video on that. But what I'm going to do is come down here and show you that something that you probably didn't know at the time Jesus walked on the earth, and that is that when the second house was made, after the kingdom of Israel left into captivity, and then later when Babylon come down and destroyed the last kingdom of Judah, and uh, they took away the captives. Then later, the second house for our Creator was established. But did you know that they kept the calendar? If it was because in David, there's a prophecy of 5 rulers over the territory. Okay. And that was supposed to start with Babylon. And I believe that it went back to the Assyrians. I believe Assyrian and um, the Babylon. Actually, I think the word Babylon is not really the truthful word here for the ruling of the kingdom. I think there was 2 powerhouses at that time, and they merged and they agreed on one king here and then one king over here. That's going to be a long way away to describe that, and I'll show you how I come to that. But the object is then it went over to the Persians, okay? And then somewhere, all of a sudden, the Romans pulled up in here. Now, where is the four? Where are these four? Well, I can only name three. But the object is the when the second um, house for our meeting with our Creator, or well, it was called the house for meeting with our Creator, and it was rebuilt and sent, and the captives were sent back. And even Egypt, the five rulers or five brothers or five princes, I think they're called, told any of the Israelis that were in captivity down there or had fled captivity were to go back and help establish Jerusalem and rebuild his house. And what here we have information that the first Roman emperor corrected the calendar and order the year according to the course of the sun. Now, the problem here is that when you read this, you're thinking, okay, big deal. We know that it centers around before or after Jesus' death. How we keep track of time, even today. But what this tells us is, if you're thinking, is that it was when Babylon might have had their own calendar, but when the house for our Creator was built the second time, the time went back to the Hebrew way, or our Creator's calendar, okay? And it was that when they left Exodus, the text is, if you read some of the plagues, you will find that the summer solace would have been the first day of the year for the Israelis' calendar, okay? And you have to understand, look into those plagues, but the key here is they didn't all happen right one after another. Well, something would happen, and then a little bit later something would happen. Because the one that's real interesting is that the locusts came and ate up all the sprouting green. So the sprouting green, what does that mean? Well, there's actually 2 seasons for wheat to grow, okay? And so you can see that April, I think, is one. If you go look it up, I think the first time is in April. So it's this first harvest of wheat that everybody's depending on. And then if you read that part of that plague, you'll see that the sprouting green gives way to saying it's the spring, okay? And then the only event that would be out there would be the summer solace. It's very easy to put a stick in the ground or in a clay mold and mark it, and it would be the shortest sunlight, and they'd make a mark, and then the longest, another mark, and they would start making a time dial that way. And I believe that they were set up all over the place in Israel, or the promised land. But the object here is that um, when they established the second the second house for our Creator, or rebuilt it, that the calendar was that way. These guys are happy that the first emperor changed our Creator's calculator to the course of the sun. Now, what's so big about the sun? Well, that's the Egyptian practice, okay? They had a god that was a god of the sun. Notice here, why is the sun capitalized here, okay? Well, the only thing is that if you watch the sun and mark it where it's moving along the curvature of the earth as it comes up and down, and they mark it, all of a sudden at the winter solstice, it stays at one spot for 3 days, okay? This is what they're talking about is that's the beginning, 3 days, and then it starts up, and then it comes back, and then it rests for 3 days, and it comes back up and comes down. But they're happy to set it to the sun god Ra, okay? Um, but that's just for starters, okay? I bet you did not know that they even wrote in here. Let's see, what is it? Okay. And lastly, and the rewarding of the study thereof. That means your reward for studying the text, okay, is to find fellowship with the saints and participation of a heavenly nature. Of the heavenly nature? I thought we were supposed to read the text and know there's actually a creator who created the universe, who talked to people, created a nation, made promises through his nation. So people from earth who live righteously, which means obeying our creator, not the secular dictionary definition, can go to heaven or to enter heaven. But they've got it that you can participate in a heavenly nature, and then something about the fruition of immortality. Okay. And then it says right here, nature taught a natural man to confess. Is this what you've studied the Bible for? I don't think so. But this is the way they are editing it. Okay. Um, and hereby we may ourselves put our enemy to flight. I go over a little bit about this, but the only thing is there's this fruit which brings forth fruit every month. Okay. So if you're participating with the saints down here for a heavenly nature and the fruitation, we come up here and we find there's supposed to be a fruit every month that you're supposed to eat. Had enough yet? Watch this. Now we're going to get into uh, the text itself. Now, this is a old Bible program you will not find. And what it is this a New American Standard Bible, 1977. That's on this side, and that's the text over here. Now, over here on this side, it is the concordance, okay? And these are the English letters for the Greek or Hebrew words. And then down here, which is very exciting to learn, is how many times they use the English word before it when it pops up in the text over here. Example, when I click on the text over here, when I click on the text over here on the word which, it pops up over here, Asherah. And you see it here, Asherah, okay? Now, what you see is all these words that they've done and put it in place. Like the word which, they use 1,924 times. But look at the words I got highlighted in red. How does the word which become storehouses, steward, reason, powder, deadly, anyone? And I can guarantee you that there is other Greek or Hebrew words or other Hebrew words that start out and say this is that word in Hebrew. Here's the perfect example. We have here. Okay, we have the word so. We follow the green line over. There is that Hebrew word for so. And yet, if we keep following it, we come down here and they use the word so 8 times. Okay. They don't. They didn't. This text has been being re-edited by people that don't believe in our Creator exists as a being who created the universe. Now, if you're going to complain to me about why I'm editing the text, listen to why I'm editing the text. I'm going to take you over here, over there, bring you back over there, and I'm going to stand you on your head until you understand that if you look at it truthfully, the text needs to be changed and edited correctly. Let's get it started with Mark here. Mark's Mark here. Let's make sure I'm got everything lined up. Okay, I can move that. Okay. The first thing we learned in Matthew, Jesus taught us, unless our righteousness surpasses that of the scribes, you will not enter my kingdom in heaven. I'm going to fulfill that prophecy right here in front of you. My righteousness is obeying our Creator. My glory is to speak of our Creator to you. You can't go to a secular dictionary to find the true words that are in the Hebrew text. There was no dictionary at that time, so you have to look into words that are in a verse to describe the text, what it means. An example, our Creator said he made man in his image. He made a male and a female. So the word man means male and female. And yet we're going to go through the text. Nope, they got a secular that it means a male or men, okay, when they use that word. It's going to get corrected. And every time that it means one male, it's going to be one male. When it means a group of men, then the word men will be used. But when it means or could possibly add women into the verses, it's going to be man. I have been asking anybody for years, you show me one verse that Jesus teaches that a female can enter into heaven. You find me that verse because I can't find it, okay? And we just went through all of Matthew. There's zero there. Now, let me see. What else do I want to say here at this time? Okay, I'm using the 1977 New American Standard Bible because of that concordance, and I can take it and I use it as reference from time to time. For example, let's see. Okay, it's not here in the beginning here. I'm sure it's going to pop up, but I want to ask you, what is the earliest text that talks about Jesus? Do you know that verse? Going to show you those verses. And let me go here. Now, this is Genesis 17, verse 6. Now, when you go to BibleHop.com and you grab some of these verses and you pull all up and you're going to look for this text, sometimes you won't find it there and sometimes you will. But the object is I'm using the New American Standard Text, 1977, and they have that listed, okay? So you will find these verses on Bible Hub. What will they say about other texts? Not so sure. There's 6 videos in the beginning of all of this that I go through and show Jesus is stupid. He doesn't know what a commandment is. He's speaking in third person. He calls himself an it. He calls himself something. It just makes Jesus look stupid. People are actually reading those to you and then telling you and explaining to you all these great things, but they aren't telling you the text needs to be corrected. They're afraid of that. Well, here I've got our Creator calling him, his name was Abram to begin with, and then turns into Abraham. And he promises he promises Abraham, I will make you exceedingly fruitful, which means have many children, and make nations of you. And there's only two nations, and that is when you look at um, Israel going into Egypt with his 12 sons, and Israel's brother Esau becomes uh, a small nation called Edom. Okay, just a little area, but at that time they ruled that area. They weren't influenced by other outside kings. They were influenced uh, by Esau and the lineage of the kings through Esau. Now we have to go to Genesis 18:18, and here he's telling uh, he's talking to somebody about, shall I hide from Abram what I'm about to do? And then it says, since Abraham will surely become a great mighty nation, that is his nation called Israel, in him all nations of the earth will be blessed. Ta-da! Here we have all nations are going to be blessed by Abraham. Okay? That's what it says. Take a good snapshot of that, because next we've got to go all the way to Genesis 22:18 and read, in your seed. Now he's telling Abraham this. In your seed, all nations of the earth shall be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. We have kings coming forth from him, which would be Jesus. We have now all nations on earth will be blessed. Okay. And then down here, in your seed, all nations of the earth shall be blessed. Okay. These verses are saying Jesus is going to be a king for his descendants, and then of all the nations of the earth. I bet you nobody's ever taught you that. So when I'm starting to talk and I'm starting to go through these words, that's how I'm telling you where these verses are at, or I'll let you know that they're there. Okay. Um, some I have to get into great depth. Others I don't have to. They should be. I know those who have studied the text will know a lot what I'm saying. Other than that, I will try to find verses and state what's going on. But here we go, Mark. Now, what I've done, if you're new here, the word, I'm using the verse, okay? And then what I've done is I've replaced some of the words with this here type of marking, okay? So I do this every once in a while, and I'm looking at not trying to violate copyright laws, okay? But what I'm doing is showing you that the blue text that I've got highlighted is the stuff that's out. The green is the words that I needed to add to make the verse more correct. Okay. Now, beginning of the gospel from Jesus. Do you understand what the word gospel is? Well, let's see. Let's get into that real quick. Whoops, that's the wrong thing here. I need here. I didn't think I was going to get into this like that, but the object is it might take me a second to find the text here. Oh, I'll see that real quick here. Hmm. Well, I know it's here. Okay, I was not prepared. I'm not prepared for you on this one. But what I am going to tell you is in the description below. There is one that of the first 6 videos that I put up there. There will be one that says Jesus defines the word gospel. What Jesus does is Jesus tells us that he tells us that his teaching about himself and as of a kingdom is his gospel, and he is to preach his gospel. Okay, and when he says he is to preach his gospel, that means our Creator sent him to earth to do just that. So the word here is the beginning of the gospel from Jesus. So the titles of gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, if you don't understand the word gospel, you would think that that means the gospel of each of those that we're teaching of Jesus. They aren't. It's Jesus who has the gospel, and he is teaching the truth about his kingdom in heaven. They knew the prophecies. The bad guys started, well, let's bad guys again. Let's get here. This I know I've got already. I can find this one because this is um, when we see the text like this, when you go chasing down the kings, okay, this left side will be Judah, and the other one is Israel and the other 10 tribes. So Judah is Judah and Simon, the land, and Israel is the other 10 tribes. Okay. Now, right off the bat, after Solomon uh, did wrong, and our Creator said, I'm going to divide the kingdom in two, this happened to his first son, Rehoboam. But it took a little bit of time. See, there's time missing here. That all of a sudden Jeroboam reigns. And what he is he is a son from Solomon, or no, I don't know. No, he's a descendant from David. I think he's a descendant from David. Not sure. I'm a little confused right now because the way I've got the lineage shown here from king to king. Notice how it breaks. Then it comes from here over here. Jehu is actually his son that comes over and rules over Israel. But over here, right off the bat, Jeroboam starts what is known as he built the first altar in Bethel. This also means that he used Bethel as the new capital city. Jerusalem was the capital city for the both uh, two kingdoms, okay? But when they were divided and there's a second kingdom, it was all of a sudden Jeroboam didn't like the people going down to Jerusalem all the time because he thought then all of a sudden he'll lose power. Well, what did he do? He went up into Damascus, talked to the king up there, like the altar, the pagan altar up there, built the same altar down here in Bethel. And I don't know what he put up as objects, 2 bowls or something like that. And he says, now all you people are going to worship these idols as your God, and you're not going to go down to Israel. Okay, it starts with Jeroboam that right off the bat, he's got the people being led away. His son does this for 2 more years after his. Then they actually lose East Manasseh to a king, okay? And then this king here replaces the city of Bethel with Samaria. Now that's the second kingdom, or the second capital of Israel, the kingdom of Israel. But all of a sudden, these are bad kings with their little letters, okay? Starting out. Well, all of a sudden, we have a few good kings come back that believed our Creator, and they ruled 17 and 20 years. Okay, but as it goes along, all of a sudden you see a group here of kings that started really going crazy. Uh, that they started going on to what's known as in Malachi 2:11, they married the daughter of a foreign god. And that's because that text is actually referring to the kings here. But the story is that they got it from these guys over here, okay? And these kings here that were in Judah, this guy made an image of this uh, female goddess that they were marrying. The verse is Malachi 2:11. Judah married the daughter of a foreign god. How do you do that? Well, you sit and meditate in darkness, and then she appears to them. A male's maleness will erect and bounce around, and that's a sex that they have with this female goddess. He put her image in the house of the meeting with their creator. The priests at that time started practicing. There are um, visions of prophets talking about how all of a sudden there's the corruption in Judah is happening so bad that now our creator is going to send Judah into captivity. But it's at this time that what I'm saying is that there was corruption over here, and the corruption had to start, was being influenced from over here as well. But these two guys are good. I mean, they were good kings. It's the people around them started going away. And at this time, which was his son, he went bonkers. I mean, he was killing prophets that came and tried to give warning. But the object is this practice is not known to you of how people sit and meditate and have sex with a female goddess. Um, that verse. So I can take you now to that verse, Malachi 2:11. Judah has profaned the sanctuary of the Lord which he loves, and has married the daughter of a foreign god. Everybody is doing this. Jeremiah gives warning. Let me see if I can find Jeremiah here. Um, now, whoops. No, it's the next one. Okay. Here, Jeremiah describes her as the queen of heaven. And on three different occasions, okay? Take a snapshot and read that. They were they're getting ready to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven because they don't fear our Creator. At that time, famine would set in. Our Creator would send famine because trying to turn them around. But the object is they said, ever since we've been doing this, and because the kings are doing it, we're doing it, and it's okay, and we haven't had famines or misfortune. You know, plenty of food and well off, and saw no misfortune. Okay. Also in Revelation, some of you know that, if she's called the mother of all whores, or the queen of Babylon, I think, or mystery of Babylon, well, that's because everyone is meditating and having sex with her. So she is the harlot, okay? They don't care what they call her. They don't respect her. But the object is this is, at the time, those kings would have went on and done whatever they wanted in to the people, to the land, and didn't care. So if the priests I know were here in Manasseh, that they had started rewriting the text, okay? And that's what's happened. Um, got another picture because I got all kinds of stuff here to make sure that you think that I'm an idiot. Well, I'm going to show you that you need to wake up and you stop being the idiot over these things. Um, okay. Here is a manuscript, 8-foot long leather manuscript. Okay. Look how old this thing is. Look at those dates. That means it's 4,000 years old. And look at the condition it's in. If they wanted to have the original manuscripts, we would have them. They destroyed them. They rewrote them and give you the manuscripts today that they all point out. Oh, we got 35,000 little pieces of these of these manuscripts so we can use this text, and this is the truth. Well, game's over. We know if they wanted to have the original text, they still could have done it like this. This one's 4,000 years old, and look at the coloring on the text. Sure, there's things missing, but 4,000 years old. Don't tell me you can't read the text. Um, Let me see if I can uh, get a little bit more of this out of the way here. Um, okay, here's a good one, real quick one. Okay, there. There's 12 commandments found in Exodus 21 through 7. 12. They're right there. They're all listed. Which one did they throw away to say there's 10? Have you actually tried to figure out the text yourself? You weak Christians are going to run, but I'm telling you, I'm revealing more truth than you've been told in your entire life. Right there. Look at that. 12. Okay. And I had to add words here because let's see which one's that word. Willingly. I had to add the word willingly. Okay. Um, where's the other one that I will by your will? You will not murder by your will. I had to add those words. Why? Because when a person died, it could have been by accident. And that is what I'm saying here. You will not commit murder by your will means it was an accident. Did you know they set up refuge cities right off the bat when they went into the promised land? That was one of the first things our creator set up. And it was a refuge city was that anyone who was in question whether they did it by accident or they done it by their will, they wanted to kill him, they would run to these cities and they would have like a court. They'd go send people to figure out what was the story and figure out what was happening. And if if they found out he did kill him willingly, then he was killed right then and there. If he wasn't, they took him back to his land, put him there, and told him, we looked at it and he did it by accident. Now he can go and make a sin offering. It was a sin he killed somebody, even if it was by accident. Do you know what a sin is? You're looking at him. You are looking at him right now. You needed a sin offering to be forgiven these commandments. There's no other laws that need an offering of a sin offering, just these 12. That way, our Creator is defining what sin is by bringing an offering because you did not do these that He commanded. Okay? Oh, man. See, you learn the word sin today and what a sin truly is. Now, I'm going to get into Matthew. So, when there is text, okay, in the beginning of the gospel from Jesus, now it's His Christ. Christ is a title of Jesus dying on the cross. that it was revealed by Matthew, okay, or in Matthew, when Peter answered Jesus' question. Once you understand that, then Jesus said that could only be revealed by our Father to you. Only Peter really came up with the word Christ. Very important couple verses to say how if you try to define the word Christ, and you'll see it used all over the place, but it's wrong. It's his Christ because it's our Creator's Christ. Jesus, the title says that Christ is Jesus who is going to suffer and die on the cross, and he has no sin. Okay? So, I would like somebody else to come through here and find the better definition than what Peter defined, and then Jesus replied back. And that's in Matthew. But the object here is nobody teaches it as our Creator's Christ and gives Jesus Christ a title. It's his title, not his last name, you idiots. Jesus is Christ. Now, I've changed all the words God to his name. A first writer would know this. Those that are writing the text from the manuscript's time have been rewriting the text and writing it onto their god or their daughter of the god and the daughter of the goddess of a god. They're writing it for her and for him. Okay? That is Ra, the sun god. They were all happy that he changed it. So you find anybody single, nuns, priests, Buddhists that are single, these people, that's why they're single. You can't have this practice and still have the practice of releasing your seed from your body. You can't do that. Okay? That's why they're single. The Catholics say they're all representing our Creator who created the universe. But when you talk to them, no, they don't even follow the rules. Example, a priest is supposed to be married, and then the sons take over their father's place, and that's how our Creator designed the priest to work in his house for meeting, or the tent for meeting with him, or the house for meeting with him. They changed the things because they're single, because they have this practice. Read the 1611 preface. Tell me why they named Gregory the Divine. Okay, now I'm going to try to cool down here a little bit and start getting into editing the text here. But I just wanted to let you know I changed all the names from for God, the title God, to his name, YV, because you'll see it spelled as YHVH. Okay, let me see if I've got here is the definition. I can't remember where I got it or what's. I think this was. It was a search, but it wasn't a Google search. Go or something, and it came up with this definition of YV by the Free Dictionary. Now, when you go in here, you'll see it says the name for the God of the Old Testament. He's the creator of the New Testament, too. They aren't old and new. They're all one. If I ask you right now, why do some people get to go to heaven? What is the reason? Right now, I'm giving you a chance to think of that answer. Stop the video right now. Come on, stop it. Think, stop it, because I'm going to tell you now. Our Creator's everlasting covenant, the word covenant is wrong, it's promises. He makes promises to Abraham. He makes promises to Isaac, Jacob, Israel, David, and other kings. Prophets are sent. There's a continually adding of information of why we go to heaven. His everlasting promises is the answer. Now that you know that God is a title and not his name, and I'm going to show you that real quick here because I'm going to get into that. I need to get into that. But the object is they ended up coming up and they start using this J, okay? Well, it can't be the letter J, okay? Those are all wrong. The letter J wasn't introduced into the English language until the 1400s, I believe. So you can't have a J that isn't in the Hebrew language. In the Hebrew language, there is no O, okay? There is no O. So when you see, oh God, oh Lord, oh Creator, those O's are not Hebrew. They added those into the text. Remove them from your text, from the Bible. Now, when it comes up here and says Wavi and Yavi, and all of a sudden it's pretty much the same. They've just added an H here. And what happens here, in here, they start putting a W. There is no W in the Hebrew language, plain and simple. These are false. These are all false. Absolutely false. Okay? Those are false. So what do we have here? We have the original Hebrew letters in English letters. We have these attempts. If I just use the letters Y and V and forget the H, we now have the best we can do to know his name, okay? Because if you leave it like this, people are going to say, well, the Hebrew letter, when it's pronounced, gives us the right to say there should be an A here and an A here. See how they added the A? And their letter V is pronounced in Yab, I think. I think that is actually an A and not an E. But the object is still can become confusing. This is the title or this is his name used throughout the text that I'm putting it. Let me see here. Now, whoops, nope, that is the right one. Why didn't I find it? I have someplace here text that shows you how many times they removed our creator's name from the text. That is it. Where is it? Because it's very important to see, so let me make sure I find that. Hmm. Okay, right there, under titles, not name. Okay, here it is. Here's the letters in the, Hebrew side of the text, in English letters now, and they replaced it with the word Lord in all capital letters. But when you look down here and start realizing that they actually put 2 titles in, okay? They put in 2 titles for 1 name, and these are titles, okay? People go around thinking that God is his first name. It's not. The object here is when you add these numbers up, that's 6,825 times they removed his name from the text. You guys think these are good guys editing your text? Wake up. Just wake up. Uh, um, yeah, I guess I went and found, here's what I did. I also went and found text here that has the Hebrew word here, Hebrew letter here, alone. Now, the thing here is alone is used for the title God. They just spelled it different. So they had already 315 times, and now every time you search the word Elohim is the word God. Okay? Isn't that clever? Now they got, you can't even go back and know which one what Elohim means, except for they're telling you it means God. But see here, it's Lord God, Lord God, Lord God, Lord God. Well, you could read it again with both capital letters, but it would be uh, YV and YV, but then you would know that it needs to be a separate sentence. Our creator is YV, and YV did this, or YV done that. See, that they would have, you would know the correct old truth of when the separation of a sentence would be there. Let me see if I got one more here. Yes. Here's the word El. El. It means God too. Okay? So the only thing is they didn't use it always for God. Mighty, mighty one, power and strong. See, they're editing in text that just doesn't, it's corrupted by them corrupting it by not using the correct words. Plain and simple. Um, let me see here. Now you know why I've done the changing of this. The first writers would have known that. What my rant and raven here has been trying to say is that at the time of Jesus, they had true Israelis, not Jews. Jews were the ones that didn't believe our Creator existed, nor Jesus was coming as our King in heaven. What Israel's did, those were the ones that believed and trusted our Creator. Their belief is not like your belief. Their belief was trusted through their forefathers that lived it in the stories they were being told, our Creator speaking to their forefathers, doing things for our forefathers that only the Creator of the whole universe could do. Okay. What these guys that sit in darkness did was got rid of the manuscripts and rewrote the text and gone through it. One of the biggest things I can say that I can point to is that over 360 times is the word mountain used that is in Israel. I think it's 320 times they say there's a mountain in Israel. Okay? There is no mountains in Israel. There is no mountains in Israel. Come on, this one should be easy to find. There is no, you can look it up on Google. See, Israel, no mountains. These are mountains in Jordan. Okay? Moses looked down here, over here. Mount Creator made Moses look down on the hill country. These are hill countries. There's no mountains in Israel. Over 300 times in the uh, Hebrew side, both sides of the book, says that there is a mountain in Israel. There is no such thing as a mountain in Israel. So when you go through the text and start knowing and realizing what I'm just showing you should make you as sick as possible. The object is it should be a perfect wake-up call for you. The thing here is I am telling you and then I'm teaching you. Okay? Now, here I'm correcting the word written to prophesy. Here we can see text being said by our Creator. And here what I've done is anytime Jesus it's his gospel and it's from Jesus, you'll see these letters in red. Possession of Jesus, and Jesus will be a first capital letter when needed. When I'm talking about our Creator, or the text is talking about our Creator, it will be all capital letters, all bold. This gives a respect to our Creator when I'm editing the text. And it's very easy when you look at the text to say who's speaking at what time. When angels are speaking, the text will be in green, okay? But the object is, even though our Creator is speaking, we know these words are about Jesus, okay? So, when I'm saying, when some of this is being said that it was written or it's prophesied, I'm trying to find text in the Hebrew side to says that it's there and we can still find it. If it is written, if I can find it, I'm going to make the text, it was written, okay? Because Jesus would know whether it was in there or not. And the other thing is we need to know that it was in the text. Not that they just say it was here. We want, because the words that they use for prophecy here sometime is not like what you can find in the text in the Hebrew side, but it has a likeness, and a very good likeness. So I use it prophesied, and we can locate it in the Hebrew side. Now, I'm not sure of all the ones that I'm going to do. I'm going to do that at the end. And what am I going to do? I'm going through each of these books and finding the truth and then piece them together as one story. And we're going to have the complete story as the way it would have been by the first writer. Because a lot of times I'm going to go through here, the text is going to be out of order. I mean, we found in the last one, what was it? John was in prison, and then next thing you know, he sent his disciples to ask if Jesus is going to be baptized. Yet, like 4 chapters before then, John had baptized Jesus. We're going to find those type of things when I go through here, but the text is going to become very clean, very truthful, reasoned out correctly to be logically said this is true. Now, if you paid attention in some of the last videos, yes, you'll see my thought process of changing some of the words, because I did these like 6 months ago, maybe even longer. And now when I'm doing them again, I'm kind of reading the text here and saying, oh, I should correct that. This still needs correcting again. But the object here is the argument between whether it was prophesied or written. You think the words mean the same, but no. I'm trying to divide the words to mean that we have the text, and now we don't have the text, but it was there. Okay. Send my message before you finish. Voice of a voice. Don't need those words. The wilderness was wrong. The wilderness can be used as the word desert. Now we know if you go look on any Google Maps for Israel, you will find that I just showed you how the hills or the mounts for Jordan are right here. Well, here is where the hill country for Israel is at. Down here is the valley where Jordan is at, okay? Jordan River is down here. Another drop, a big drop down. But the object is, in fact, it's even below sea level. But the object is that the sides are desert, and only around the river you will find green. So when they say John is one by the out by the wilderness making this cry, no, he's down by the river. He's not in the desert. Okay, so the truth is the Jordan River, and he's saying make your way, not make ready a way, because it would have been the word a here. Make ready your way, not of, but for your king. Lord is not who they were expecting. The title Lord is different than king. Jesus was promised through our Creator, and David had it wrote that it was said in Psalms that David says, my Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right. This is our King in heaven. That's the meaning. Jesus is going to be sitting with our Creator in heaven. This is why we go to heaven, okay? Is because our Creator is giving Jesus a kingdom in heaven. It is not saying that he's going to talk about their Lord out there. He's John, who we're talking about here, is going to be declaring your king is here, okay? And make his path straight. He doesn't have, there's no way you can make Jesus's path straight. Even at that time, you could not do that. For his righteousness, for he is righteous. And why I use the word righteous is because it's told in the Hebrew side because I've done a lot of study in there on the Hebrew side and gone through it. As you've seen by the order of those kings, that is just another story. But that's like 421 years of both sides of the kings, and those dates of how long they ruled. Oh, are they accurate? I think I can only find like 2 years missing, and that's hard to say about even the 2 years missing. That's how accurate our Creator's hidden formats are in the Old Testament or in the Hebrew side. Now, when the word righteousness, I need to make sure everything I use here in the this Jesus, it's going to be called Jesus's teaching. You're going to find those words. Would the Israelis use that word instead of this here kind of crap? Make his path straight? You can't make Jesus's path straight. So I needed the words, for he is righteous. Why do I use righteous? Because our Creator says, can't remember where, it's lost in my head, but I know it's there. Obeying our Creator is your righteousness. Abraham went to kill Isaac, okay? Our Creator stopped him. He was willing to obey our Creator's words. I think he counts it as then Abraham's righteousness, that he was going to do it. He was obeying me. He's a righteous man. I stopped him. He was a righteous male, and stopped him. When you read this text, you can see that it's cleared up, and it makes more truth of what the words, just by changing a few words and knowing the correct title that was to be used. Had to add a lot. You can see there's a lot being added here. But wilderness, I already said, it's the Jordan River. It has to be Jordan River. If you say Jordan, you can't really, you don't we haven't got to that point in this video yet, but okay, I'm going to right here. See the word Judea? What they did in the four Gospels, they used to divide the regions up of where the governors were, the governors were ruling over. Now, at first, we have Herod who kills all the children by Bethlehem. He's actually ruling over all this promised land as one ruler, as one governor. He was not a king. He was under the Roman Empire. This is what I'm saying here is this here is the three regions that they later divided up. Judah, or they call it Judea. I renamed it Judah because people who study the Bible know that this division right here stayed the same from the kingdom of Israel. These two sides were the kingdom of Israel, and this would have been the kingdom of Judah. So the object is here is to make sense when you're reading it. I'm removing their words and putting in these words. And you can see that they had a governor over this side of the east of the river, Jordan. I named it Jordan, okay? And I'm trying to put emphasis like a double N to make it sound longer, Jordan, okay, or whatever. But the object is maybe it's just Jordan, and I'm trying to say that by putting a second N here, we aren't talking about the Jordan today. But the object is here they called Galilee, okay? And they called it something else. I found a text in Matthew that they had also named it something else. But they're pretty much use it as Galilee here, okay? Jesus of Galilee, okay? Which meant, and it didn't mean Nazareth. It meant from the region Galilee because this governor ruled over here, and a governor ruled over here. And this one's titled or starts, or this area is called a region. These are regions. Starts with an I. I think it's only used once or twice in all the text. So it's easier to understand, to make sense to those that understand the Hebrew text, okay? And like I'm trying to tell you, it's a matter of actually trying to make it as a first writer would write and not have taken it, stole it, put in there all these kind of crazy words. Example here. Here's camel's hair. Do you know that's called an unclean animal in the Hebrew text? Unclean animals means they weren't supposed to have anything to do with them. Why would John be wearing this? He doesn't. He'd be wearing a ram skin, not a sheepskin, a ram skin. It was male, because the male seed is visible. They named all daughters back to a male. Okay, they didn't say a daughter of Mr. and Mrs. I think, what is it? Elizabeth is the daughter of Aaron. This type of thing. That is, you can even find in the text on the Greek side. That the Israeli would know to say those type of things. Okay, camel's hair. Somebody missed the boat here. They forgot to study the text that was before when they rewrote the text. Okay, it should be ram skin, not sheepskin. Ram skin. And it's not a belt, not a leather belt. They wore a rope. There's many times they wore rope. Now, and that goes way back. I'm trying to think of the earliest time I can think of that, and I'm not sure. But the only thing is they all wore this white hide as their clothing. Okay, it was leather. That's what they raised these animals. That's what they made their clothing out of. That's what they made their tents out of. A lot of things. were they used hundreds of years that way, okay? They didn't need to have a cloth or have different colors on clothing and stuff. They were obeying our Creator and living on to our Creator's promises. They don't need material things. They wore ram skins with a belt around their waist. Okay. Um, See, they had the country. I'm sorry, I'm skipping back here, but I realized that. Okay, forgiveness of our sins. And hey, you learned what sins were today. Um, our country, Judea, is actually a region. Judea. Once you understand it's a region, you know just by saying it, Judah is the region. Going out means coming to him, so that's easy. No, some of these are easy to see that they aren't needed. Okay, they had the word after they confessed their sins to him. They were being baptized by him in the Jordan River after confessing their sins. Not they were baptized then confessed their sins. Um, John wore a ram skin with a rope around his waist, or a rope around ram's hide with a rope. Let me see how I got it down here. John wore a ram skin with a rope. Okay, don't need the words around his waist. The rope would mean anywhere about there to close it off. As you can see, it would just be open, or the bottom would be open, and then the top would be slipped over the top. Depends on how you think Adam and Eve, what kind of clothes they wore and how they wore them. There's that type of clothing and how it could be designed, or how the hides were clothes and how you would use a rope. Um, Around his waist. I can see it as a rope as a tie, so they can untie it so they can squat and then close it back up and not around his waist. Okay. And that needs investigation. Anyways, John ate locusts and fish, and he couldn't eat all wild honey. You cannot sustain yourself on wild honey. Okay. John's living down there on the river by himself. He could eat the fish. There's freshwater fish in the river. When they say the Sea of Galilee, the sea represents salt water. It's Lake Galilee, okay? In fact, the text is going to call it sea one time and lake another time. It's a lake. It's freshwater fish. They're eating the fish from there because they had to have, the unclean fish were without scales. The clean fish that they could eat from had scales, okay? Um, So I'm adding the word fish, taking out honey, and insects. There are descriptions in the Hebrew side of what kind of insects they could eat. So down by the river, there's plenty of insects. But that's how I cleaned up the text. This is how I go. I'm going to be going through and editing, and I will be moving a little bit faster because I have done a lot of this teaching in, what is it, 40, almost 50 different videos of trying to show where the truth is and why they need editing. And I just wanted to make sure that this first video starts out that you're with me on this. And like I said in the beginning, our Creator made me see Him 8 times. I don't have a belief. I know our Creator exists. And I will be telling you the truth and explaining the truth and trying to make sure when I do something that I think is important, I go through and show you images or text in the Bible That's there's someplace that needs to be understood that it's there, so I'm not inventing that they're sitting in darkness, um, meant having a sex with a female goddess. I can point it out in Malachi 2:11, and then I can point it out in Jeremiah, and I can point it out in Revelation. You couldn't have done that. It's hidden from you. You're living your life and trying to raise a family. They've been deceiving you and deceiving you a long time. Their day is over. This is Jesus's prophecy, and I'm fulfilling Jesus's prophecy. We found one verse that says that in Matthew. Okay. When I showed you right off the bat, the text up here, Jesus taught, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes. I'm telling you, the scribes are the bad guys, okay? And my righteousness is my obeying our Creator and understanding His truth. He's given me the knowledge to surpass that of the scribes. And I will enter Jesus' kingdom in heaven. Don't be afraid to take the text over and say, I'm going to use your videos later. I want to do and I want to see what I can find in the text. Great. Beautiful. That I like that idea if you're thinking that. You're going to have to put it into a word processor. I showed you how to do some of the coloring so you have a before and after text here. The object here is you're not going to have exactly like I've got it because, example, like saying His Christ, you wouldn't know it's His title until you do the search. Even in a word processor, I've noticed it doesn't always pick up the word Christ of all of them. I've got a Bible program that doesn't exist anymore. I'm thinking you can do that in Bible on BibleHub.com, but you're not going to get one book. You're going to get many. Now, if you're going to start doing this, I would suggest you do it from the New American Standard Bible, 1977, because, example, there is a video below, and I tell you where heaven exists from where you're on earth. Where is heaven? Where can you point and say, where is heaven at from here? Where did our Creator ascend to? He didn't ascend right straight up. No way. Because up is not really up, is it? We now know we're going around. So when He ascended, He just didn't go up. He went someplace. That's very interesting. That video will shock you because there's only the New American Standard Bible and the one that copied the text from the New American Standard Bible are the only two out of like 29 Bibles that actually tell us where our Creator made heaven and where heaven is located from earth. Then you'll know where Moses raised his staff to heaven and asked for a plague. Not just up straight up. That's the second heaven. I'm talking about the first heaven. There's three heavens. Where the birds fly, that's our heaven. That's spelled with a little h. The second heaven is the stars. Now, the secret here is this is the motion. And the North Star is the peak. That's the second heaven. And above the North Star is where heaven is located. This is the telling of the truth being taught through going over a lot of different text from different areas in the Hebrew side and these four books. You can throw your text out after you find the truth here. And I'll mention real quick here, just in case some of you weak Christians are still here and still going to call me stupid when I'm done here. Let me put you in a bind. When we find that Jesus defines what blasphemy is, and He says there is no blasphemer will enter into heaven. Okay? That's Jesus's teaching, that that is the truth. It's not going to happen. Yet when we read 1 Timothy, I can't remember what, 33, 133, something like that. Anyway, uh, Paul, who is, or Saul, his name was Saul, who changed his name to Paul, um, said that he was a blasphemer. Do you know they say that he wrote 13 books that are in what you call the New Testament? If you believe that he saw Jesus and you trusting his words, Jesus said he will not enter into heaven. If you accept any of those books that Paul taught or said that he wrote, you're making Jesus a liar. You have to throw those books out and go back and say, Jesus, you're right. He won't enter into heaven. Those books are false. But if you say he's right, now we have to put every word Jesus says into a question. Is that what he meant when he said it? Because he didn't mean it, because you are teaching all from all these other books that Paul wrote. Wake up out there. You know that's in the verses. Look it up, check it out, and then you're in the bind of having to answer that question. What are you going to do? You're going to trust Jesus' words, or you're going to trust some idiot who's not going to make it to heaven? Okay? Wow. Did we make a good start here in Mark?